Aloha! Thank you for joining me again with Cooking on Maui with Chef Lee. That would be me, Chef Lee. Today we are going to talk about truffles. So my girlfriend Angela wanted to know exactly what do you do with truffles other than fries. So everybody knows about truffles and French fries, but in case you don't, we are going to talk about them a little bit today, and I'll do a little demonstration for you. But as I've said before, my favorite thing is to eat something sweet. So I like truffles in a sweet version and a savory version. So I'm going to show you a couple of different things we can do with truffle honey. I have a truffle butter and I have truffle oil. So there's a lot of controversy in the chef's world about truffle oil because basically in order to create the truffle essence in the oil, it's a chemically modified product that they're putting out. They're not real truffles. Now I happen to have a truffle oil that I got from Italy, so it has real truffle in it, but I'm sure it has some flavoring as well. But the public loves truffle. So if you love truffle, I'm going to show you something that you can do to do truffles at home. Truffles are extremely expensive and very rarely can you get your hands on them. They're usually a wintertime product. But if you have a really great gourmet company in your neighborhood, I have a company called Rimfire Imports here on Maui, and they do a lot of exotic high-end products, and I get a lot of stuff from them. So I am lucky enough to be able to get truffles once a year from them. With the truffles I got last year, I couldn't use them all, so what I did is I created a truffle butter, and I put this in the freezer. That way I didn't lose the truffle, and I'm still able to use it in future preparations. And if you could smell this, it seriously smells so good. I did a little Parmesan cheese in here, a little shallot, and the fresh truffle. You can see the fresh black truffles that are just kind of peeling off on it. So that way I didn't lose my product, which cost me a lot of money to get. So this is one thing to do. And with the truffle butter, I'm not going to show you all the preparations, but I'll give you some ideas. I love this melted on a piece of steak. Seriously, are you kidding me? So truffle butter on steak. You can do it on a pasta. I do a great mushroom pasta sauce, and I'll finish it with the truffle butter on top. Oh, so good. So think about different ways like that to incorporate these kind of ingredients. But what I'm going to show you now is a couple of sweet products, and then I'll show you those forever loved truffle fries. Everybody has some cheese in their house. Truffles and cheese make the perfect marriage of components. So I have two cheeses. I've got brie, which is a pretty common, easily attainable cheese, and I have some puff pastry. So I cut the puff pastry into a couple of squares, and I'm just going to create a sandwich with this little piece of brie in the center of it. I have a little egg wash here, so the egg wash is going to hold the top to the bottom when I do this. Now you can get a little paintbrush to paint this on. I happen to just use my finger. It's the best product that you have in the kitchen. So we're just gonna create a little seal on the edges here. Now you can always do things to make these pretty. If you want the finish to be nicer, you can grab a fork and then just kind of seal the edges a little bit more. It gives you that more finished look. Ooh, it almost looks like a ravioli, but it's gonna taste so much better than a ravioli. Okay, so we're gonna put this little guy aside. We're gonna pop him in the oven in a minute. And then this is a piece of lumpia wrapper. So a lot of you are familiar with spring rolls. This is a lumpia wrapper that you can buy basically in any store. So I had that, and I have a little smoked mozzarella. One of my favorite things is truffle honey with smoked mozzarella. To die for. Okay, but enough about me. So I'm gonna put a couple of pieces of these cubes. They're just like leftover little scraps that I had. So we're gonna put a couple of these in the lumpia wrapper, and then we're gonna fold this over. And this guy's gonna get fried. The puff pastry will get baked. You can use water, or I'll just use a little bit of this egg wash to keep this closed. So those are the two things we're going to do other than the fries. And just to show you a little bit what I have, so this is my Truffle Honey. And I buy this from Rimfire Imports. And you can see it is, well, maybe you can't see, but it is chock full of just chopped truffles and so amazingly wonderful. And again, a little goes a long way. This is my truffle oil that Rosella and Ignazio sent me from Livorno, Italy. And then I showed you my truffle butter already. So let's cook these guys up and then I'll show you the finished presentation. Okay, so now that we have all of our items assembled, I'm going to take the brie with the puff pastry and put it in the oven. I already have a sheet tray in here with one on it, so we're just going to add that to it, and then the first one will be done in just a couple of minutes. And while that is cooking, I put in one of the lumpia wrappers with the smoked mozzarella. I'm going to drop the other one. Now, my temperature on the oil, I always run it between 360, 375. I think that gives the best browning without overcooking. So that's what I always keep my oil on. And I usually use a large fryer, but don't want to use a large fryer. And that's the timer for my puff pastry that's in the oven. I'm going to let it go another minute because I looked at it, it wasn't quite brown yet. So after this guy gets done, then we're going to do those French fries, and then I'll show you how I finish it all up. So when you're frying with oil, you always want to monitor the temperature of the oil, because when you put the frozen food in, it comes down, and it can come down considerably depending on how much you put in. So I always watch my temperature gauge, and that's one reason why I usually keep it up to 375. So it usually will go down to about 350 when you're putting in French fries, for example. Which sound cooking as lovely as they taste with truffle oil. It's best to do a 2-fry process. What we usually do is we drop the fries once for about a minute and a half, and then we'll take them out and let them rest. And then when it's time to start serving them, we will drop them to get the final cook on them. That's usually about 3.5 minutes, just till they get brown and nice and crispy, of what you would expect to get when you're going to a really great restaurant that has truffle oil on their fries. So these guys are almost done. Okay, so now the puff pastry that we put in earlier is ready. So we're, oh yeah, look at that guy right there. That's gonna be so wonderful and yummy. So we're gonna let this one finish cooking a little bit longer. We'll get to him in a minute. And now our fries are done. So turn the flame off to that. So always, another good frying tip, make sure line your container with paper towels so it will absorb the excess oil. And you also want to salt your fries immediately when they come out. Don't wait for them to cool off, because then the salt won't stick as well. So we're going to do salt on the fries, and then we're also going to do another little, like tarragon seasoning. It has tarragon and garlic salt. So when you have things in your house, just think of fun ways to use them. You don't have to just use tarragon on a fish item. You saw me use it in one of the videos in a dressing. Now I'm using it on French fries. So lots of different things you can do. I do rosemary on French fries a lot. Whatever fresh herb I happen to have on hand, I usually incorporate it somehow because I don't want to lose the product. All right, now let's see how to finish these guys up. Okay, so I'm going to make a little truffle aioli for your French fries. A lot of times they put just the truffle oil on your fries and they toss that in when they finish. But not everybody loves truffle, which I seriously don't know how you could not love truffle. The first time I had truffle, it was the worst thing to ever happen to me. Well, my budget anyways. So we're gonna do a little truffle aioli, and we're gonna start with mayo. I make my own mayonnaise, but if you don't want to make your own mayonnaise, I completely understand. So I used a little jar mayonnaise today, so you can see that you'll get the exact same product that I can get out of it. So I'm going to use jar mayonnaise, a little bit of lemon zest, and you can fancy a mayonnaise right up real quick. So do a little bit of lemon zest in here, maybe a tad more. And I've got a little chopped garlic that I chopped earlier. So we're gonna mix this together. Now that we've got this little aioli, we're gonna drop in. Remember, a little truffle goes a very long way, so we only want to use just a tiny bit of this. So we're just going to use like a couple of drops of it. Seriously, not even 1/8 of a teaspoon. Well, maybe 1/8 of a teaspoon, if you want to get specific. So now that we have this, like some things that I do here at my catering company, this is my little French fry basket. So I'll take my French fry basket, I'll put the truffle aioli in the bottom, and I'll stand up my fries in the basket. Seriously, how fun is that? Then you're not getting an overabundance, but that truffle aioli has coated the bottom of all those fries. And seriously, seriously good. And it's fun too at a wedding. So now that we have French fries done, we've got our smoked mozzarella. If I have fresh figs, which we don't have fresh figs right now, you can always use the dried figs if you want to, but I use fresh figs and a little truffle honey. Finish off with a little sesame seed. Now you have something that was super easy to do that is super tasty. Oh, see that big chunk of truffle on top of that? Finish it with a little sesame seed, and that is a little bite of goodness for sure. Okay, so now we have our puff pastry that we filled with the brie. You can do this in larger portions, so if you wanted a plated appetizer, I do this as a plated appetizer for some of my weddings, and we do it with fresh fruit. So I've got a little strawberry here. We're gonna cut this strawberry. You can put this on a fun plate, or you can just do it as a past appetizer. So I'll get a little plate here. I've got my little puff pastry. Drizzle a little bit of this super amazing truffle honey on it. And then finish it with a little strawberry. And there you have a super tasty, filling appetizer to keep people going until dinner is served. Well, that is it for truffle today. I really hope you enjoyed learning a little bit more about it and more ways that you can use it. Remember, truffle and cheese, always a winner. Truffle and fruit, always a winner. And truffle and pasta anything, always a winner. So thanks for joining me again in the kitchen. This is Cooking on Maui with Chef Lee. Have a great day.